We're back with the Fox News Alert. We're just learning the FBI agents have raided the Maryland home of former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton. It happened at 7 a.m. this morning.
Shortly after the raid began, FBI Director Kash Patel posting on X, quote, "No one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission."
So it turns out Trump and I have something in common. Neither of us really likes John Bolton. Me, because he's a war hawk who had a big role in getting us into the war in Iraq, done a lot of damage to this country and to people around the world. Trump, maybe for different reasons, spoken very publicly about his distaste for John Bolton's mustache. He probably also didn't appreciate Bolton's tell-all book after Bolton served in Trump's first term. Anyway, neither of us is a big fan of John Bolton. FBI raided his office and his home a few days ago. It sounds like the case involves classified documents. Now, for a raid like this to happen, a court would have had to sign off on a warrant. So who knows? For all we know, there's a there. And frankly, I wouldn't put it past John Bolton to have done something wrong. That said, I want to talk a little bit about why I think this is ominous for our democracy. In a dictatorship, the dictator doesn't bother with due process or the courts. The strong man just decides who is free, who is jailed. Just think about all the political opponents that Trump has threatened to prosecute or jail or take some retribution against if he wielded power again. And those are people on the other side of the aisle and even within his own party.
The Hillary Clinton stuff, I mean, she should be going to jail.
Hillary Clinton has to go to jail, okay? She has to go to jail.
If she were to win this election, it would create an unprecedented constitutional crisis.
He should be in jail, but they should have taken her right off the campaign.
President Obama and Biden spied on my campaign. It's never happened in history. If it were the other way around, the people would be in jail.
These people should be indicted. This was the greatest political crime in the history of our country, and that includes Obama, and it includes Biden.
And it's not just Democratic presidential candidates. It is Republicans like Liz Cheney, and even today he posted something about Chris Christie. Or it's public servants like Christopher Wray or Chris Krebs, who was responsible for election security. The list of political opponents that Trump has is long. Don't forget this one last month. Yes, Trump really did share this AI video.
If any other president did this in the past, it'd be a huge deal, but now barely that big of a deal. So over the weekend, former President Trump shared a fake AI-generated video on social media showing former President Barack Obama being arrested in the Oval Office. The video, originally posted on TikTok, depicts FBI agents handcuffing Obama while Trump looks on and smiles. The post comes after the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, accused the Obama administration of a treasonous conspiracy to undermine Trump's 2016 election win. Gabbard released over 100 pages of documents alleging attempts to suppress intelligence and promote claims of Russian interference. She's now calling for federal investigations and prosecutions. Now, remember that for years, presidents refused to even criticize their successors. But now you got one posting a video of him being arrested. Critics say the timing is a distraction from controversies surrounding Trump, including his alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein.
That Fox News clip references Kash Patel, director of the FBI, weighing in on this raid. There's an article from Timothy Noah in the New Republic back in late 2024. Kash Patel has a little list and has threatened to come after those people who bear the misfortune of being on it. "We will go out and find the conspirators," Patel said last year on Steve Bannon's podcast. "Not just in government, but in the media, whether it's criminally or civilly, we'll figure that out." Who are these conspirators? In his 2022 book, Government Gangsters, Patel names them. They number 60. President Donald Trump has nominated for FBI director someone who has compiled and publicized his very own enemies list. Lo and behold, we scroll to the bottom. Here is Patel's list. Lots of names you'll recognize on it. Democrats and some Republicans, including, there he is, John Bolton, former national security advisor under Trump. So this should not come as a surprise to any of us. But I do think we need to talk about the principle of independent, fair law enforcement in a democracy that operates by the rule of law rather than the whims of an authoritarian. Look at what Trump and J.D. Vance said after the raid.
Sort of a lowlife, not a smart guy, but he could be a very unpatriotic guy. I mean, we're going to find out. I know nothing about it. I just saw it this morning. They did a raid.
Do you expect the DOJ to brief you on this?
Yeah, they'll brief me. probably today sometime. I don't want to, I tell Pam and I tell the group, I don't want to know, but just you have to do what you have to do. I don't want to know about it. It's not necessary. I could know about it. I could be the one starting it. I'm actually the chief law enforcement officer. But I feel that it's better this way.
No, the chief law enforcement officer is the Attorney General of the United States, who leads the Department of Justice. Currently, that's Pam Bondi. Unfortunately, Pam Bondi seems to share the same authoritarian impulse as President Trump. But the White House is not supposed to use the Department of Justice as its own law enforcement investigator or police agency. It is supposed to be independent for a reason, because we don't want to live in a dictatorship where the dictator gets to decide on their own without any kind of due process for citizens of that country who is guilty. No, Trump has it wrong. He is not the chief law enforcement officer, and that's really the problem. Now, check out this J.D. Vance clip. He says "we" a couple times as if the White House is running the investigation that led to the FBI raid on John Bolton.
We've learned that the FBI is searching the home of former Ambassador John Bolton, his office as well.
Sure.
Can you tell me, why is the FBI raiding Ambassador Bolton's home and office? And did the White House get a heads up?
Well, so we're in the very early stages of an ongoing investigation into John Bolton. I will say we're going to let that investigation proceed. What I can tell you is that unlike the Biden DOJ and the Biden FBI, our law enforcement agencies are going to be driven by law and not by politics. And so if we think that Ambassador Bolton has committed a crime, of course, eventually prosecutions will come. But as you know, Kristen, this is all part of gathering evidence, trying to understand something that we're worried about.
Yeah, there's a lot of wheeze in there. Doesn't sound like the FBI is operating independently.
Classified documents are certainly part of it, but I think that there's a broad concern about Ambassador Bolton. They're going to look into it. And like I said, if there's no crime here, we're not going to prosecute it. If there is a crime here, of course, Ambassador Bolton will get his day in court. That's how it should be. But again, our focus here is on, did he break the law? Did he commit crimes against the American people? If so, then he deserves to be prosecuted.
As you know, Ambassador Bolton is a frequent critic of President Trump's. He's also on Kash Patel's enemies list. The administration has already revoked his security clearance, Secret Service protection. Is Ambassador Bolton being targeted because he's a critic of President Trump?
No, not at all.
You know, a lot of people have already looked at this and said, this looks a lot like retribution. Is this retribution?
That is precisely the question, and I'm glad she asked it. Do you remember the speech that Trump made at the Department of Justice? Pretty unprecedented, maybe with the exception of some of the stuff Richard Nixon did. But the way he showed up at the Department of Justice, which again is supposed to be independent of White House influence, back in March, and he spoke specifically about a bunch of political opponents that he thought should be prosecuted. Trump is a convicted felon who has put a bunch of his personal lawyers into very top law enforcement positions across the federal government. I'm sure this Bolton stuff is about retribution. Maybe some of it is to divert attention from Trump's very real Jeffrey Epstein legal troubles. Maybe John Bolton really did do something wrong. Who knows what combination of factors went into these raids? But in a democracy, I don't have to like John Bolton or what he stands for to believe that the rule of law should apply even in his case. Let's continue to follow this story.